We've got some
Hey, I'm Luis.
And I'm Luis.
And you're listening to the Content is Profit podcast.
We spent the last 4 years learning the strategies and techniques from some of the top marketers in the world on how to create content that turns into profit. And today, we're bringing them to you so you can take action immediately and start creating real content momentum.
If you'd like to learn more about how to turn your content into profit, go to contentisprofit.com. Oh, yeah.
Today, we're actually talking about some of the what we call the external reasons, right? The external reasons on why people don't publish,
Oh, man.
right? So
Do we have time for that?
usually that's one of the external reasons. Do we have time for that? Time is a huge external reasons. One of the main ones for every business, right? If you're trying to sell something, it's like, do I have the time to take on this, right? And when we talk about publishing, usually is, do we have time to create the content? Do we have the time to distribute the content, right? So that's one of the factors. The other factors, it can be monetary. So do I have the money to create the content? Do I have the equipment to take the content, right? Do we have the resources to create the content the right way that we want to do it? So we're gonna be talking a little bit about that. There's some crushing some of people's false beliefs, so they get started publishing content that has purpose and a call to action, so you can drive your business forward.
Yeah, so today, just producing content in general is a necessity, right? Because we talked, during this month and the last episodes, we've been talking about time and consistency and how loud can you get, and attention is what's gonna drive kind of like that social proof, right? If you have more attention, you're gonna attract more eyes to you, to your business, to your brand, and then eventually, right, if you have the right systems and the right offer, that will turn into profit, right?
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, to kick this off, I wanna actually share part of our own story, right? When we started the business, and I think we might have shared this story before, but it's totally fine because we really want to get this point across for you guys. And when we started our business, right, we heard this marketing experts talk about publishing, about creating content, about sharing what you knew with the world so you could attract your dream customers. So we knew from the beginning that we needed to publish in a certain way, right? Was it blog posts or...
when was the very beginning?
This was a little over 3 years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
3 years ago.
So we needed either writing blog posts, right? Creating videos, recording podcasts, or at that moment, I think Instagram is when it was like starting to blow up for businesses. So creating engaging posts on Instagram. And we would look at these marketers' social medias and all of them were the same. But I don't know why. I have to look back, into my life to see what made me so afraid of putting myself out there to share my message, because for 3 years I knew I had to do it, yet I never did it. So looking back at it, obviously many reasons, but one of the reasons I told myself was always like, well, I want something that is quality. If I'm gonna record a video, I want the video to look good. And honestly, that's the main reason why I learned how to edit video, because I was like, I wanted to be the best, right?
It would drive me crazy because we would have a video, like at some point in our story, we were known as the video guys because we started offering like these front end videos so we can get like a month to month with other businesses on the back end as far as content. So all we started to do was videos everywhere and pictures, and then we started getting paid for it. And he was the main guy that would edit, and then he'll call me. He's like, "Hey, Luis, like, can you check the video right now?" And then I'm like, "Perfect, it looks amazing." It's like, "No, but the minute 1.3 is not the right color." I'm like, "But it looks amazing."
That's the moment where like perfection gets in the way, right? And that's something I learned this past 2019 is that perfection is the enemy, right? It's the enemy of execution and putting things out there. But at that moment, I was so focused on, no, if I'm going to record something, I need a camera. Hey, my phone had a camera. Yet I was telling myself I need a real camera to film this. I want to record a podcast. No, I can't if I don't have a microphone. Your phone has a microphone, right? Yet I needed the best microphone to record the podcast. So I knew I needed to take action, but I was holding myself just because I didn't have the necessary equipment. And then when I started getting some of the equipment, then the holdback was, well, I don't know how to use it properly, so I need to learn how to use it properly so we can deliver the best quality out there. And again, that will stop me because everything has a learning curve, and I was just like trying to learn all these things. And I mean, truth to be told, we were not building a production company. We don't have a production company. That's not what we do. But people started confusing us with, one, because we had the cameras, we had some of the equipment, and we were giving out the wrong message. And it was all because of those insecurities. Like, hey, I'm afraid of just grabbing my phone, recording my message, and putting myself out there.
And yeah, he's talking also like specifically with video because that's what we were doing at the time. But think about content in general, right? If you're a writer, if you're a blogger, what are the tools that are like kind of stopping you from publishing? We have a very close relative that person wants to do this blog, right? And he loves researching a bunch of topics and he loves writing about different things. And what's really stopping him is like the look of how the post will feel to the end consumer. And we're like, don't worry about it. Just like write, publish, and then receive feedback. But the idea is to create a system that you feel comfortable with that is gonna be consistent, right? What can you produce right now if it's a blog, a video, or pictures if you're a photographer, right? What's the amount that you can do? How can you spread it out? How can you be more effective with your message with the tools that you have? Once you outgrow those tools, that's perfect, right? Then you can move on to the next thing. So like he was saying, just a phone nowadays is enough to produce amazing content.
To produce everything that you need, video, pictures, podcasts. It's a tool right there that you record into it and then it like shares it to all the podcast platforms, right? And to finish the story, right? I was just trying to be perfectionist and holding up on the equipment and the time, because then I was like, oh man, editing all this content takes time. Of course it does if you want to do it all perfect. And it wasn't until late 2019 that we actually realized like, hey, you know what, like you do not need all that to create engaging and meaningful content that attracts your dream client and presents you a frictionless sale. So like the way I encountered that was just honestly just looking at these big marketers, their content, see what they produce, and I was like, you know what, like their content doesn't look that professional. Some of the pieces, yes, they do, but most of it doesn't. And then I was like, well, look what trying to be a perfectionist has brought me to, you know, like the position where I'm standing now. You know, not the best financial situation. My business wasn't like growing as we would like to. Yeah, these guys were making millions of millions and they were having the most organic cell phone made content possible. So that was a moment where we're like, you know what, like it's all about the self-belief that we have in ourselves. It's like we're just afraid of putting ourselves out there, so let's do it. And we decided to start the 45 Live, which you probably already heard about in the previous episodes. And we started to put ourselves out there in front of the camera, just talking, right? No, not much quality value.
Yeah, but it's funny because like if you, and you guys will probably see a post about this, but if you see my brother's setup and then you see my setup, my brother's because he has the equipment, then you have him on the microphone because he knows how the equipment. But then I was like, okay, let's do it the most organic possible, right? And I literally record with the camera on my laptop. That's it, and it's horrible. But anyways, there's other platforms that can definitely help you, right? But at the end of the day, if the message is correct, if the message is in tune with your dream customer and the needs, and you're providing that value and you're actually helping them, right? And when we talk about dream customer, and we're probably going to have a whole episode about this, but you're trying to find that person that you want to serve. And when your business is willing to do that and willing to go there and help them out, that person is going to listen to you no matter what.
Yeah, definitely. And quick thing, we've been to plenty of fitness studios, right, that we work with, and we actually asked them this question. Again, earlier this year, I heard this phrase that I think it changed a lot for me, is questions invite revelations, right? So you need to ask the right questions so you can get the right answers. And one of the questions that we ask ourselves when we're looking to create content is profit is, what's more valuable, the message or the quality of the production, right? And we were like, for us, it was easy. For us, it's like, wow, like even though we believe so much in the quality at that point because we had all these false beliefs, we were like, the message is more important, because you can have the best looking video, but if the message is crap, nobody's gonna listen to it. They're gonna just skip right over. So we went to these fitness studios, and I don't think I have encountered a single person yet when I ask them that question that they tell me quality is more important than message. When people send me DMs or when I'm talking about content with anybody, I always ask that question. I'm like, what do you think is more important, right? Because I know they're stuck where I was. That I know these people are stuck on the production side of it. It takes me so much time to edit something and make it look cute or whatever. And I'm like, okay, what's more important, the quality of the message or the quality of the production? And every single person always answers quality of the message. So ask a question to yourself. What is more valuable for you, the quality of the message or the quality of the production? Let us know in the comments below if you're watching this on Facebook, or if you are watching this on the podcast, you send us a DM. Let us know what you think, quality of the message or quality of the production.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny. Like I have story as you were telling, these guys about the production, the quality. Back where we were in Venezuela, right? Sometimes we wouldn't get cable channels, right? And I'm a very big, like we're both big soccer fans, football fans. I'm a Barca fan. My brother's an Arsenal fan.
Yeah.
And so I remember like going to college, and Barca will play this Champions League game, and it's like the big European tournament, very important. And I was not able to watch the game outside of the university at that point because they didn't have the channels on the foot court TVs or whatnot. So we will go and we'll log into this like crappy site to kind of hijack this like crappy signal, and then the game will be watched like all pixelated and whatnot. But we will be stuck watching the game, and we'll stay there for the whole 90 minutes, even if the image and the production quality wasn't there, because we were so in love. We were such big fans of the sport and the team that we wanted to do that. So in those terms, right, the Barca playing that massive game, that's the quality of the story, and that's what kept us there, even though the quality was not perfect. So bring it to you, right? And we're not saying do crappy videos. Like if you have the chance to do a good looking video, and nowadays with any cell phone, you're gonna have basic awesome quality. There's some phones that record 4K. So you don't have to have, this pixelated video, whatnot, because the tools now allow us to do, and there's some mobile and so on. So a decent quality you will have by default. Yeah. Just focus on what you have to say, what you want to share with your audience, with your dream customer.
Yeah, and what you're saying there is key, guys, because he was saying, with his story, like he would do anything possible to watch this game, whether it was crappy looking or not, right? And when it comes out to your dream customer and your content, it's pretty much the same scenario. If you are talking meaningful, purposeful content, right? You're talking, your message relates with the person with your audience, and they want to learn more, and they know they're gonna get that information from you. It doesn't matter if your content is delivered through a blog post or a podcast or a choppy video, right? Like it doesn't matter for them, because they know the information, the quality of the message, it's important, and it's going to teach them something valuable that they need at that moment in time. So keep that in mind, right? Like, have you find yourself, let us know, have you find yourself looking at crappy production videos because the message was so good that you were just like, you just wanted to learn more. If that happened, please let us know. Or is production just a turn off for you, right? We want to know. We want to know what you think. Just going to help us develop Content is Profit even more.
Yeah, some of the things that come up when we go to these different fitness industry studios and because that's the main client that we work with, or we also work with dietitians that, small businesses in general, right? It's like, okay, but I do have a brand, especially when we work with like big fitness chains. They want to make sure that they keep and they protect their brand and their image. And we totally understand that, right? Yeah. But customers are also dealing with people. So the video can be on brand, but don't let that stop you from creating that content, right? Yeah. So a very good way, and I'm going to share this story. We actually were doing this workshop that we started working with about 9 different studios in the same city. And every week we'll track the data, and we'll have a different strategy that basically we create a macro piece, and then from that macro piece we start chopping down the videos, and when we distribute just to be present, that will act as kind of like a safety net. So that was like the main strategy. But then we started finding that members were actually more engaged, obviously, with the content that was locally created, which is totally normal, right? So we decided that we were going to launch a workshop for them for like about an hour, where we're going to kind of explain them the whole strategy, the safety net strategy with their content, and then kind of teaching them and motivating them to do more localized content and how can they get a little bit more traction with it. After the whole session, we stand up and we're like, okay, guys, we actually want to do something today before we leave. We have 10 minutes, and everybody take your phones out. So all the managers, we had about 9 managers and then 9 kind of like social media people in each studio. So 18 people total in there. And everybody grabs their phone and they're kind of thinking, okay, we kind of know what's coming. And we're like, okay, here's what you guys are going to do. You guys are going to do a Facebook Live. None of them. I was so impressed. None of them have done a Facebook Live before, because every single one asked us, how do I get to publish a Facebook Live, right? And Facebook Live is the example for this, but you can use honestly like any platform. You can go YouTube, you can do that, but that's the platform that was relevant for them at the time. And we're like, okay, look, this is very simple. If you do not know, what are you gonna say? Just document your journey, document your day, and what's coming. Or even better, if you don't know what to say, ask them what they want to hear.
What they want to hear, yeah.
What they want to hear. Very simple, right? So everybody kind of went on their Facebook, and they were able to be themselves, and not on their personal. They went into their businesses pages, and they went on for like 5 minutes, and they asked their members. And at the end of the day, every group was having so much fun. They were trying to figure out how to do it. They were laughing. Some of them were nervous, yes, because it's their first time, but the message got out. And guess what? The response was great. You had a ton of members like tuning in. You had a ton of members commenting on what they wanted to hear, right? And at the end of the day, yes, at that moment is not driving sales, but they had an offer about bringing people into the studio, which at that point for them helps with retention, which helps with, overall happiness of that member that is going to stay for more months. And at the end of the day, if those members start sharing and commenting on that, this is the organic side. There's a paid side as well, but on the organic, they start doing that. Guess what? They get exposure, and people that are in tune with that message are going to levitate to you, and they can become potential customers.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, right? They were vulnerable, willing to be transparent with their audience, and they just put themselves out there with the right message, right? Just asking them, hey, we are going to start doing this. We would love for you to tell us what you want to hear. And yeah, the response was amazing. As you said, one of the benefits, even though they weren't targeting new people, was the probable increase of the lifetime value of a customer. Because now you develop more trust with these customers, and they are like, you know what? Instead of canceling my membership next month, I'll stay for another full quarter, right? Or till the end of the year. So keep that in mind. The content, yes, even though we are talking about creating the content to create minimal friction sales, you can also create the content to increase the community aspect of the client base that you already have and increase the trust so you can increase their lifetime value as a customer. I mean, whatever you see it, content is just such an important piece of your, not only your marketing, but your whole business nowadays. You need to be making money, making money through your content, right? You're creating all this attention, you're creating all this noise and driving traffic, driving people. But remember, you're putting those filters up. We talked about that last episode. So yeah, again, going back to these false beliefs that people have, we don't have too much time. I mean, we told you, again, I think this is the third episode we're going to say this, but the average person spends about 2 hours every single day on their phone, scrolling on Instagram and Facebook. That's amazing. I mean, I'm going to be honest, I'm probably in that range right there. But at the same time, I'm doing an effort to spend some of my time now creating content and not just looking at it and getting distracted, right? I know those dopamine bursts in your brain, they're awesome, but we need to start creating so we can drive potential dream customers to our business.
Yeah, important part here, guys, is consistency, right? So whatever we decide to do, I remember when I was a studio manager, before like this like content thing even happened, I would remember sitting in my office, right? And the owners and the corporate was like, you guys have to create content, you guys have to create this thing, you gotta be active on social media. And like I said, it's not just social media, but and then it was just like a heavy weight on my shoulders, like, shoot, I gotta create this, but I also have members to deal with, I have to make these sales. And it wasn't never really like a priority at that point, but now all these people it is becoming a priority because it's a source of leads. It's a source of not just leads, but customers, which is really important.
Yeah, and we also need to take advantage of it, because eventually, like, the more demand there is for these platforms to publish content, run ads, the more expensive it's gonna get for you as a business owner to get your message out there. So we are at an amazing time right now where we can take a full advantage of these platforms. Their guidelines are allowing you to make this type of marketing, and the prices, anybody can do it, right? You can invest from $1 a day if you want, up to thousands of dollars a day.
So, super side note there.
Super side note. Sorry, I needed to get it out of my brain.
But continuing with it, like the biggest thing was like time, right? I always was like, if I ever had more time, I would do it, right? And then I would like plan it out, or buy one of those like full-on social calendars that they were crappy, to be honest, because the message is not there for you, for your own business. And once I was able to step out and actually do this, we were able to sit down and actually come up with these different frameworks that don't require the time to actually sit down, the daily time to do it, right? If it's Facebook Live or if it's any kind of live, but it's about 5 minutes a day. Yeah. But the other kind of content, you can sit down in 30 minutes and have 6 months worth of content planned out already. And then we just got to figure out the production, which is, part of what we do. So,
I mean, you can produce everything in one day. Like we're doing right now. Shh, don't tell anybody.
Don't tell anybody.
Well, yeah, that's what we're doing. We just sat one day. It's like, hey, let's make a bunch of episodes. Then we'll repurpose the content. Yep. It's so you start seeing it everywhere.
Yeah, as you follow along our journey, you're gonna see why or how are we repurposing this type of content. Some of it is testing, some of it is modeling after people that are very successful at what they do, and you guys are going to see those patterns, and then you just grab and adapt to what works for you, right? If you can only publish 5 to 6 times a week, that's okay, because of maybe it's not just equipment, because we talked about that, but the posting platform, the time demands of, if you're a business owner, we understand there's a ton of stuff, but if you have a team, then those systems, you can delegate it, right? So with that being said, shameless plug,
Shameless plug.
We do have the moment of the recording of this podcast. In about 5 weeks, we're gonna launch our first 6-week masterclass for a beta group, right? And this class has been designed to talk all about from messaging all the way to the frictionless sale. How do you create? How do you distribute with the least amount of equipment, the least amount of time?
It focuses more on the principles, fundamentals, right, and frameworks that you need to be able to create this content that is gonna drive audience, drive your dream clients to your business, and present yourself with a frictionless sale.
Not just organic. We're talking all kinds of content. And if you listen to this and it is after February 10th, you can just go to contentisprofit.com
and sign up for the next one.
And sign up for the next one. So there's always going to be there. That's the easy way to communicate with us. We'll be more than happy to answer any questions there. Contentisprofit.com. You can also go to our social media channels and drop us a line.
Drop us a like or a share. And guys, if any of these past episodes resonated with you, right, or stories, if you find yourself maybe somewhere in the journey where we've been and we can help you out, or whether you don't know exactly what to put in your content, right? If you are doubtful that content is the way to acquire these frictionless sales, right? If you are afraid of not having enough time or the resources, guys, again, go to contentisprofit.com. We're ready to help you. We are ready to start the masterclass, and we can wait to see you there.
Yeah. So is that
That's the cue. Hit it.
That's the cue.
There we go.
Woo!
All right, guys. See you next time.
See you next
Thank
time.
you so much.